I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town.
What is going on, Hive? I got Devil's Advocates backstage. DA, what's up, man?
Some people are like, man, you know, Birdie goes out there too far. One of the thing that endeared me about
Wait, hang on. People say that? No, I'm just kidding. I know that.
People have said to me, man, Birdie's a little out there for you. And I'm like, no, but look, here's what endeared me to you in the first place. On one of the first nights we got together, when the first time we went live together, I said, look, I love that you have these crazy theories, like the person at the welding shop. Remember the welder shop theory? Yeah. And then the ritual about, you know, the right of the twins, right? And I said to you, look, at the end of the day, all of these cannot be simultaneously correct. Some of them are exclusive of the others. It can't be both a psyop and nobody died or something like that, and also the firefighter and also a ritual. And I said, but here's the cool thing about you. You are able to entertain all these different ideas and just ask the questions and spur conversation. That's what I dig about you. And not everybody gets that about you, right? Some people think Birdie thinks this. Birdie doesn't necessarily think these things. No. He's entertaining thoughts and spurring conversation and getting you to think outside the box. That's what I dig about you, and that's what this show is about.
I wouldn't do this if I was afraid to come on here and not be myself. I can promise you that everybody that's watching me through the screen, if we were sitting around a bonfire up north and I'm half in the bag off a couple fireball shots and some bush light, I'd be talking this exact same way. And this is me. This is who I am. You know what I mean? I've always been this way. And if I ever stop doing that, I won't be streaming. I can promise you that. So
you got some crazy people in the house tonight. It's going to be, I can tell, it's like, it feels like a Friday night.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting though, isn't it?
I'm nervous. My butt is puckered right now.
I have a lot of stuff that I want to dive into. Obviously, people have been looking into what Bryan Kohberger's papers have said. They've looked into the books that have been laid out on his floor. I have something that I haven't heard anybody talk about, equal to maybe even a little bit more of like, in your face. This is clearly things that are meant for everybody to be seen and focused on. I don't know if you ever watched that interview of Banfield. This actually 1111 had sent me this, and I made it look like a stencil and had Bart Simpson spray painting it. But she had interviewed somebody from Bryan Kohberger's childhood or high school, and this girl saying like, yeah, we were just shocked. Like we didn't see any signs. Like we were so surprised. And Ashley Banfield's like, well, search your mind. She's like, there has to be something. You missed something. She wouldn't let it go. And it's like nobody that knew Bryan would have ever thought he would do this.
Search your feelings, Luke.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to digress just for a moment. I had somebody leave a comment on my rant today. Devil's advocates, you realize that less than 10% of convictions are wrongful convictions. And I thought, 10%, that's an acceptable number to you. So let me see. Let's put 100 people in a classroom and say the police are going to walk in and arrest 10 of you and put you away for jail for something you didn't do. Is that acceptable odds? Would you like to be in that room? Are you okay with that? They might just arrest you and put you in jail for the rest of your life on it's less than 10%, man. Don't worry about it. It's less. Oh, good. Go sit in a room and let's see if you're one of the 10 that gets arrested and put away for life. Anywhere between 90 to 95% of all trials don't go to trial. It ends in a plea deal. So it doesn't necessarily prove, of course, what percentage of those weren't guilty. But what it does prove is that people tend to plead out rather than go to trial because they're told that the consequences of not taking a plea are going to be far worse for them.
In my YouTube channel, if you click 6 more links, I have a website, TikTok, Discord, Substack, Facebook page and group, as well as an Instagram. The goal of having all those different platforms is so that you can send it to your friends when maybe there's a topic that you can see through the noise and you're red pilled and you're awake and they're still maybe a little bit over fluoridated and they need something to wake them up. So, and then DA, why don't you tell people where they can find you?
I also have a Facebook group and a Facebook page and a Substack page, devilsdocket.substack.com. And I've got Instagram, which hasn't really taken off so much yet. TikTok is where I started, but now I'm on YouTube. So I've got a million platforms, it feels like, as well. So just like you said, I mean, if you're out in a bunch of places, then you can send it to somebody that might appreciate it in an area that hasn't seen our show, because most of, I think both of us are pretty much YouTube, but those other platforms help people get to YouTube and see things that they haven't seen.
We have a ton of people posting pictures of their pets in the hive. So I thought this would be fun. I kind of put out a request to anybody to put a tinfoil hat on their dog. And then on Monday nights, you and I will vote on, and the Hive will vote for a winner. The next week's is going to be like a witness protection uniform. So whatever that looks like, if you want to put a trench coat on your dog or put sunglasses on your dog, that's what we're going to do for next week. And I think it'd be kind of fun to continue. It doesn't just have to be a dog, it'd be any animal. Because also somebody had like a lemur. Apparently it's legal in Alabama. I have no idea. And I'll put this full screen so you all can see it. I'll take the chat down, and we are going to pick a winner. Just type what number you believe is the best tinfoil hat dog in the Hive.
Those are great.
I love the one with the Dunkin' Donuts. So moving on to the Discord question of the day. And April had asked, Birdie, do you think it's possible that Bryan was supposed to go to prison, maybe to get information on other inmates? Could this be part of the PSYOP that's always been in the back of my mind? Well, I actually have exclusive footage here of Bryan Kohberger showing up to PSYOP training on day one.
What happened to my tennis court?
James, you will no longer refer to this area as a tennis court. From this point on, this is the yard. It's where you come to get your few precious minutes of fresh air and sunlight. You understand me?
Fresh air. How many times did I breathe in clean air, fragrant with lavender, and take it for granted?
James, I don't give a fuck how many times. Right now, you in the brothers only section, man. You got 2 seconds to get your white ass out. You get mollywopped.
Okay, Darnell.
Who's Darnell? Yeah, that's it. You got a problem, Gringo?
Darnell, what are you doing?
Darnell? Who's Darnell? That's it. You're looking at Carlos.
I just was trying to leave that area.
I gotta tell you, if that is what it is, April, and you are right that they did all of this just to get Bryan Kohberger inside of a prison instead of a simple transfer form with some fake paperwork that he could have just been put in, to go through all of this is remarkable, and he would never be expected. I can promise you that much. Ain't nobody thinking that dude's going in there about to start running shit and get information and intel. I don't think. Isn't he in a cell 23 hours a day by himself? So it's not very effective, whatever it is. All right, moving on to the Hive Mind finds. And also shout out to the UFO dog for making the Hive some dope new art. This comes from Luna Bliss. Shout out to one of the mods here on YouTube. They had said, found this interesting after last night's stream and talking about Bryan's apartment looking like a fake staged apartment. This was an interview with BK's neighbor right after his arrest. And Neffy Duff has lived in Steptoe Village apartments on the Washington State University campus since late 2019. He told Krem 2 he lives in the units right next to Kohberger and learned of the arrest at work on Friday. Quote, I don't recall ever seeing him around, end quote. Duff said, I mean, I thought I may have seen the white Elantra, but there are probably a lot of white Elantras. So I didn't think it was the specific Elantra. What are your thoughts on the whole apartment thing? You and I haven't talked about it.
I mean, so I thought, first of all, it's not a big deal, but narrative wise, I remember seeing all of the talk about, you have to understand, when we went to Kohberger's apartment, it was spotless. I mean, he'd cleaned up that place and it was spotless. And I'm like, I saw all these piles of papers all disheveled everywhere. And I'm like, what? Like, your narrative sucks ass. First of all, there were areas of that place that wasn't all that neat, but they made it sound like it was the most meticulous, spotless, organized, cleaned. And what it looked like to me was a typical starving student's apartment, which didn't have a whole lot of stuff going on because he can't afford a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
yeah.
Because they knew they were gonna they knew they were gonna arrest him, and they probably thought to themselves, shit, Bryan, you got to go to Walmart right now. Get something that made it look like you lived there. Because when you go to Pennsylvania and we follow you across the country, we pull you over 2 times and however long, and it's going to be for the same thing. And then we're going to SWAT your parents' house. We're going to zip tie your parents up and all that shit. We're going to have to go to your apartment, bro. You're going to have something in your house. What do you think about this one? I'm not going to lie. When I saw this from Tricks Are for Kids.
Oh, yeah.
Found this on a Justice for BK Facebook account and it made me go, Now I looked up, I had submitted this into ChatGPT and I said, if somebody has the same body language, these are 2 separate murders, but what does this mean? And honestly, it gave me the best answer that I think we can apply moving forward. It says, seeing the same body language in 2 unrelated murder cases is a reminder that humans share predictable stress reactions. And you know what I thought about? Yeah, you're goddamn right. We do that 911 call. Waiting 8 hours is not a normal, predictable stress reaction.
This was Chris. Is that Chris?
Watts.
That's Chris Watts, right? Watts, when they were asking him about the death of his wife or whatever, and he's, you know, he obviously knew, and yet he's kind of taking this posture. And then you've got Hunter taking the same posture. I remember somebody saying that to me as well. They're like, "Look, he's acting exactly like Chris Watts."
I gotta also say, as I'm looking at this picture, I'm surprised that we don't see a 9mm pointed at the top picture. He's got his hands on his head. There's a knife on the table, and there's 4 dead bodies in the house.
Right. I have not understood that whole thing. Like I would be terrified if police were arriving to a murder scene to be anywhere near that thing, because I would expect them to draw guns on me and shout at me to get down before they clear me, right? Because I haven't been cleared, and so I don't know how it is. He's all casually walking through the scene, you know, holding a knife, dropping a knife on the table. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
I don't know why it's so funny, because this is sick. This is so messed up, and I'm sorry, but it is funny for me to think about you being in that position where they go, "Show me your hands," and you have a knife in your hand, and you drop it. And just knowing like how you are, you're just,
dude, I could have a butter knife in my hand and I'd be like, "Oh," and I'd be done, because that's the way I do. I fall into shit. I fall into weird shit.
There's this dude named DA, and he has nothing to do with the crime, but he's done almost everything to somehow make it look like he's the guy that did this. And we don't know how to handle it. Like, do we arrest him? What do we do?
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. And not to side tangent, but when I had a security clearance and I was going to be subject to a polygraph, I was terrified, because I'm one of those guys. I have a guilty conscience. Like, if you even suggest that I might have done something, I'll in my mind, I'll be like, did I do anything like that could have answered the answer? And then I start incriminating myself. Like, I'm the worst person in the world. Like, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near a crime scene, because I would incriminate myself.
Now I have to ask you, have you ever been wrongfully convicted or wrongfully accused? And only share what you're comfortable.
I did get cuffed in the back of a police car for following somebody home that was drunk, and I was trying to make sure they insisted. Hold on, this listen to this.
Did you get the DUI? Did you get
No, yes. No, listen.
No,
this is
shut up.
Oh yeah, this is a good story. I gotta digress. So I was a manager, and I had an employee. He was 6'6". The guy was like Randy Johnson from the Mariners, huge, tall dude, right? And he insisted, after drinking with me all night long, that he needed to go see his girlfriend, because he's all horny and he's jacked up on alcohol. And it's like, "I'm going home and getting laid." And I'm like, "Dude, you are not driving." Somehow, in my drunken state, I thought it would be a dumb idea to follow him home, because he insisted on driving. I'm not stopping the 6'6" guy. I'm like, "Okay, if you're driving, at least I'm going to follow. And if I flash my headlights at you, you pull over." Dumbest fucking plan in the world. He gets pulled over. I pulled over as well, because I had a police behind me. We get both pulled over. The cop tells me, "You can leave." He tells me, "You can leave." So I'm like, "Shit, I'm out of here." So I start pulling out, but I can't, because I'm pinned in between the cop and my buddy's car. Meanwhile, he's lipping off to the cop. "You're nothing but a fucking rookie cop with a badge. You're a piece of shit. You're a punk." So he gets arrested, and he goes, "Why can't my buddy drive me home?" "Oh, he's your buddy?" He comes over. "Hey, you been drinking with this guy?" I'm like, "I had a drink or two." He gets me, he cuffs me and puts me in the back of the car. So we got a little chat.
Personally, hearing your stories are one of my favorite parts of Monday night. So
the judge was like, "Why did you follow him? Do you realize you just put 2 drunk people on the car?" I mean, the judge was like, "I understand your logic, but you just put 2 drunk people on the road. So like, you should have stayed home."
Oh man.
Like, yeah, I get it.
Why have 6 or 7 pictures of a birthday card that's just randomly left on a TV stand, but yet you don't see individual pictures of any of those remotes? You could say, okay, well, maybe they took it as evidence because maybe somebody knew him. That's probably the only thing that I could think about, but I don't even think it's that, because I have so much that I'm going to be diving into that.
Oh, this is your special you talked about, where you said,
yes,
you've got something that other people haven't talked about. Yeah.
Yes. What the hell could this be? So this is Teddy Roosevelt.
Yep.
Okay. Just in general, speak softly and carry a big stick, from a guy who didn't say a damn word the entire time that he was in the court system, and then, quote, carries a big stick in the way of, he clearly has a ton of evidence that would prove he didn't do this, a ton of reasonable doubt, a bunch of pictures clearly of this card. That's odd for crime scene photos. Yet we don't see a sheath, but we see a damn birthday card 6 times.
Right.
Teddy Roosevelt riding a dinosaur, quote, carry a big stick. Symbolism here. Roosevelt is law, power, policing. He founded the Rough Riders. It's a symbolic of federal strength. dinosaur. It's an outdated power structure and a primal force. I know that is going to make some people go, okay, Birdie, but I'm telling you, minimal room, maximal message. There's nothing in there of any value but these books, but the papers, and this damn card that shows Teddy Roosevelt, so that's where I was like, what the hell is going on? And it's mixed in amongst a bunch of other shit to make it seem like it's not. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that if you're right about the Luigi Mangione setting it up to put the healthcare system on trial, there is a chance that this could be exactly what Bryan Kohberger is doing when it comes to the court systems in 90 to 95% of all cases, taking pleas instead of going to trial and not risking it to go to trial. They just want their guy. They're going to overcharge them so that they can settle for a lesser charge. And they're going to essentially make threats. And they're going to say, look at what Kohberger did. We'll take the death penalty off the table. Like, we don't even know if you're innocent or guilty. You haven't gone to trial, but we'll take the death penalty off. And they scare the shit out of you. Why would it be spelled like that?
I was trying to figure that out too. Like, is it a young kid that's writing this, or or is that the nickname he had from a childhood thing, and they nicknamed him that?
Bryan Kohberger was seen on camera with a girl allegedly, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And she was Korean or Asian.
Yep.
Okay. I started thinking, I'm like, that's not a full underline of that's not like a decorative underline. This is a decorative underline over here. This,
yeah.
And the comma, it looks like that's just like an exaggerated comma. And like this little line looks weird. And Bryan. So I'm like, what is that? Why would that? And then again, why is his name spelled wrong on a card that they're putting 6 pictures out with nothing else in there? So then I'm like, okay. So I started thinking about if the girl was like, was she from Korea? And then you start looking at this board, and I'm like, okay, what is this? When you go and you start seeing Korean language, this is where it gets crazy. So look at that is damn near spot on, which can read as SA, for, and death, depending on context. So right here is the picture that I uploaded. Cal, it could be shorthand for calculation or California law code. The brackets around the Korean character, that Cal equals knife. That's not random. That literally means knife in Korea. So Cal with that is calculation knife or California knife. Is it a hidden blade reference? Bryan in English translates right to what we saw underneath. It's Korean for Bryan. You see this written twice. Again, that means for or death. And then it's a circle diagram with SHA. It looks like phonetic notes, maybe how to pronounce a Korean syllable, or it could be a symbolic split like a yin yang. You look at this part right here, bro. A hangul under Kohberger. That reads Jiao Biao Zhang, which roughly translates to disciplinary punishment matter or case of discipline. That's like legalistic Korean. That's not something random. And you could see it all right here. This is all written. But when you strip away the disguise, what's really written here is Bryan Kohberger, knife, death, 4 victims, criminal case.
My brain cannot process that much.
I know.
Right?
But dude, I mean, I'm telling you, every single symbol for what I could tell, I wouldn't show you guys this if I didn't feel like, okay, this is something that there's an argument to be made. That lines up. All of these Korean letters line up pretty damn close.
Where was this board screenshot taken from? From
his
office?
Yeah.
From his office. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know what it means, but I'm like, because why just carefully select and redact shit off of a whiteboard in an office? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would it be too obvious then? Is there something that's written in Korean that people would translate? It's too obviously written in a foreign language that it would say some shit like that.
Right. Well, that's my number one question, because I'm more simplistic, but this is why the redactions on this board. What the fuck's, why are there major redactions on the board? That fundamentally, I mean, what, students' names? Is that what's being redacted? I don't understand what the redactions are for.
And to Allie's point, okay, I believe you, Birdie, but doesn't that mean you are probably exposing his cover? You're going to blow his cover and put him in danger? God damn. I mean, at this point, we're all in danger if they're going to pull this shit over our face. And I'm not upset with the comment, Allie, but I'm saying it's not okay to do this to the American people. If that's going on, don't give it the biggest spotlight. The reason why we can't make sense of it is, was it some sort of activism? Was it some sort of frame me and you're going to go take pictures and you're going to see I was putting that shit in your face the entire time? Look at my books. Look at my papers. Look at what was written in my office on the whiteboard. Oh, that's Korean. You thought I was just doodling? No, it says everything that you're going to try to put on me.
And I guess, I mean, to me, all of that will only work if there's a surprise appeal and this gets overturned. And then they're like, look, this is how easy you were to be fooled and manipulated into a false confession.
Yes.
But if that doesn't happen, then what?
The working theory as a staged frame me operation. Someone embedded a narrative on that board that says in code, Bryan, knife, death for disciplinary case equal criminal. If you want to be seen a certain way, either to martyr yourself or to expose a system, you'd hide those cues inside what looks like harmless classroom scribble. I will be framed with my own name, knife, and criminal graph hidden in plain sight. When the system seizes this as proof, it shows they were set up to find exactly what I planted. God damn.
Right. But again, and all of that would require then for the whole thing to be proven and somebody to walk through and say, by the way, I left all these in plain sight. You just didn't know what you were looking at, because there has to be a reveal, right? There has to be a reveal to undo everything that's been done to make some kind of statement. You know, there was a part of me that there's the ticking time clock that said when Kohberger pled guilty and the sentencing gave a 42-day window or whatever for the appeals window. And I thought to myself, no way we're going to see police reports and all this with that until after the 42 days are over. And I thought it was weird in the first place that Moscow PD immediately released a crap ton of documents, which showed reasonable doubt for the first time. America was finally seeing, how the fuck did you overlook this guy? And how did you overlook this guy? And what about Showalter? And what about the creepy guy that was all over Maddie at the bar? And I thought to myself, why the hell didn't they sit on that for another 42 days? Why did they release it so quick? There was a part of me that said they're purposely trying to get people to get it out there quickly before his appeals window rolls out or ends up, so that they can see that there was a cover up or there was some kind of weird shit going on. And yet here we are 2 days away from the appeal window closing and nothing's happened. But I have wondered, was somebody trying to get the message out quickly by releasing all of the information before the appeals window ended up, to let people know, hey, look, there's something shitty going on here. But again, there's no time left. We got 2 days. 2 days.
Dude, I don't know what's going to happen, but let me piece together the beginning of this theory, because I believe that sometimes what people can't wrap their head around is thinking back to the beginning. Okay, we are all aware that Bryan Kohberger studied under Ramsland. We are all aware that Ramsland was one of the only people to get inside of a room with BTK and interview them, co-author a book with them, ties to the FBI, very tight knit, right? Bryan Kohberger just so happens to transfer across the country to the criminology department that received NIJ funding for predictive criminal behavior.
Yes.
Bryan Kohberger just so happened to apply for a Pullman Police Department internship. Like you had said, he was interested in studying the way people think about crime. He could help a rural community out in their police force. Okay. That's all progressing. Bryan Kohberger, for all we know, this grant by the NIJ, which is the research arm of the DOJ, was funding this exactly. Bryan Kohberger, for all we know, planned out exactly what was going to happen in the court system to prove his thesis statements, to prove his papers. He had the books on it. He knew what was exactly going to happen to him down to the T. There was nothing but circumstantial digital evidence, a hint of trace DNA, which we all know what trace DNA means in court, which is jack shit, and you look now, these photos are coming out right before the appeal deadline's up.
Right.
And you think to yourself, this man didn't say a word. He didn't say a word for over a year and a half. And all he did was he didn't confess guilt. He pleaded. Right. There's a big difference in that. Why are the G's out there advocating don't let one man play God? We were told that you should go to trial and be judged by your peers in school. And we were taught about that. It's all coming back to stop the plea deals. This doesn't make sense. You must go to trial. You must see the evidence. That is the justice system. The justice system is not being overcharged and then settling for a plea because you're terrified. If you don't, you're going to get the death penalty, even though you're innocent. But you don't know what's going to happen with the jury. You don't know the dirty, slick tricks that the prosecution's going to do. You don't know what the state's going to do. You don't know what the cops are going to do. And as a normal civilian and a kid with no resources and mentally challenged, he just got fucked. That's what happened, everybody. But he called it. He knew about it. He researched it. He wrote about it. He read about it. And it's on his whiteboard, for God's sakes.
What's the end game? What's the end game? What's going to happen?
How would I know? I don't know. I mean, for God's sakes, I have no idea what the end game is. I just kind of blacked out there. I just got.
No, I get it. There's an argument to be made that we have corrupt systems and somebody could have funded an exercise to show how corrupt the system is. But again, that only works if the reveal is made. Oh, by the way, you all were ready to send somebody to prison to die. And here is how you were all duped and you're all manipulated. And here's how, the curtain has to be revealed. And I'm afraid what's going to happen is the window is going to close on the appeal in 2 days. Someone's going to kill Bryan Kohberger in prison, and that's going to be it. And then what was the end goal? There was nothing. There's nothing there.
Let me play this out. Bryan Kohberger gets killed in prison. And then it comes out, he's innocent. Would that be, and let's say it's killed and he's in WITSEC or whatever it is, but he disappears. Because do you think that even if that dude's proven innocent, he's going to be able to live a normal life ever after dragged through the mud this much? No. But do you want to know what would be pretty powerful and a pretty sobering moment for people like Banfield, people like all these douchebags on TV that don't know a damn thing from the documents? They have done nothing but absolutely destroy this man's character and reputation before any sort of trial ever happened. Precisely what Bryan has talked about. But now he's dead. And now the state comes out and says, we had the wrong guy the entire time.